at our start point, we'll kick off. So big welcome to everyone who's joined us today, and welcome to the start of this week-long event, Turn Up the Wow. We are super excited to be able to bring this to our community, and we are really excited for a jam-packed week of content and sessions. So if you haven't already kind of checked out the other bits going on the rest of the week, then do have a look at the agenda that we've shared before and sign up for any extra bits that you like. But for today, this is our keynote. We're really setting the stage for what's to come this week and kind of reinforcing why video is such an important topic. And this will be recorded, so if you do have to jump off at any point, don't worry, you can pick it up afterwards. Likewise, if you want to revisit anything, you'll get that in an email later today. As this is kind of a jam-packed 45-minute session, we actually won't be doing a Q&A live on this session, but if you do have any questions, I'll share a email address that you can use to contact us afterwards, or if you want to share anything in the platform, there is a question section. You can add any feedback, thoughts or questions in there, and we will look through those afterwards and come back to you. So a couple of options there, and I'll repeat them at the end. But for today's session, I want to introduce our two key speakers who I'm sure you've seen on the screen with their videos. So the first is Zoe, who is our CEO, and of course she is driving our vision, our mission for Sparkol and everything that we do. So it's great to have her on to share more of her insights and sort of thoughts on where we're going and the importance of video in 2021. And I'm also joined by Susie, who is our product lead, and of course alongside Zoe, she's really setting the agenda for where our products and services are going and how they're kind of meeting the changing needs of you and the rest of our community. So without further ado, I will hand over to Zoe to kind of kick us off.
Thank you very much. It's in our nature to tell stories, whether they're factual or fictional. It's simply an intrinsic human characteristic. And as we look back through history, we see it right the way through the ages, from the earliest cave dwellers tens of thousands of years ago, who told their successes of their hunting stories in diagrams, images across the walls of their caves, right the way through religious narratives and those stories that we've heard that many of us know well. And then we think about the stories handed down through the generations, from our grandparents to our parents and on to us, and possibly even on to our children. And what's so incredible is how vividly we remember those stories, even after many, many years. Storytelling is one of the foundations that Sparkol's built on. I was lucky enough to come across Sparkol back in 2013, and I actually joined the team 7 years ago this week. And I found this community of people who shared the passion, the enthusiasm, and the desire to help to unlock the inner storyteller in each and every one of us. I also found a community of people who shared a dread and a dislike for that death by PowerPoint that sadly we're many familiar with. Sparkol's built on the premise that there's a better way to communicate and to engage an audience, that there's something that is inclusive, that speaks to the eyes and the ears, and that breaks down barriers to understanding. Something that appeals across all different learning types, possibly even neutral of gender or geography, and that caters to those ever decreasing attention spans. And we struck upon scribe videos that show images drawn out on a background before your very eyes, that unfold in sync with a voiceover to communicate your ideas in a clear and linear narrative. Like cartoons, scribe videos tell a story. But unlike cartoons, they're not animated in a traditional sense, and they don't need to be silly or end in a punchline. There's really something absolutely mesmerizing about a drawing coming to life in front of us. People are really drawn to scribe videos. It's like a crowd gathering around a portrait or a street artist, and they evoke this really emotional response. And part of that's about the anticipation and completion. 2 dots and a curve. Of course, it's a smiling face. Your mind completes the image. And that anticipation goes a long way to explaining the mesmerizing effect. Because of course, once your audience is actually hooked, you can start to present your message. Now, technology's really stepped up through time to support visual storytelling. We had photos, then motion pictures and TV. And now, of course, we have digital media. I once read that online video is the Swiss Army knife of marketing. Now, I love that analogy. I think it's absolutely perfect because it's just so true. But we know that there's a time and a place for each different type of video. And who's the audience? What's the content? How much budget have we got? How much time have we got? What style have we got? And actually, what's the context? And it's horses for courses, because sometimes it's cutting edge that's absolutely perfect. Photorealistic VR that's constantly pushing boundaries. But sometimes it's not. And what if your message is dull or mundane or bland? Or even complex and confusing and really challenging? Actually then, how do you distill your message down into the simplest form? How do you get your audience to stand up and to listen and to take note and to really remember what's said? How do you bring that light and colour into the dull and the rainbow to the grey? And sometimes simply having your content drawn out in front of us is really incredibly powerful. You know, we're lucky. Nowadays, anyone, anywhere can bring their stories to life in really magical and meaningful ways. There's a huge volume of users who've embraced the power of scribe videos and a video scribe. They use it to pitch business ideas, to explain policies, and many to teach. There's an absolutely huge online community of teachers, and they share their successes, their wins, and even many of their templates. And whether that's for revision notes, for challenging topics, or for flipped classroom, they find that they get incredible results. And why? Well, because actually 15% more people recalled an answer from watching a whiteboard animation compared to a talking head video. 15%. It's huge. 88% of teachers agree that using video in education helps boost student achievement. And 93% believe that using video has a positive impact on student satisfaction. Now, I have to put a caveat in there, that was pre-COVID, so that was before lessons went online. It would be really interesting to review those stats and see how much that's changed over the past 12 months. Do you know, I still get excited when people tell me their stories, and they share with me how video has made a real difference to them. I thought I'd tell you about some of my favourites. I don't know, have you seen the Christian Weaver videos? The Law in 60 Seconds? Christian takes really complex subjects and he distills them and explains them simply and clearly and concisely so that anyone and everyone can actually understand the topic. He has a huge series of videos, absolutely incredible, worth looking up. I love the story about the school children who used VideoScribe to beg Barack Obama to reinstate their tour of the White House after it had been cancelled due to budget cuts. And a while back, I met this amazing lady who really wanted full recognition to go to her team at bonus time. And so she created a scribe of the entire year of her team's success and everything that they had achieved, so that actually when the remuneration committee came to meet, they didn't just think of the last couple of months and what had happened, but they considered how successful that team had been and how consistent they'd been throughout the whole 12 months. I mean, who thinks of doing these things? Absolutely brilliant, genius, absolutely genius. I believe it had a desired result. Now, I've witnessed in my own household the power of video in students. My own son, Billy, or Will, as he likes to be called, horribly dyslexic. Schoolwork, an absolute nightmare. And homework is more like a war. I'm sure some of you are familiar with that. But actually, he needed to do a presentation on the meaning of philosophy. That's quite hard when you're 10. And he put together this VideoScribe, and he put a good amount of work into it. And the joy and the pride that he showed when his video was shown in the school assembly, and it ended with a huge round of applause from the entire school. But not only that, not only did it boost his confidence to the nth degree, but actually he still remembers the content even now. And he'll say to me, well, philo means love, and Sophia means wisdom. Philosophy is the love of wisdom. Now that when you're 10 and you still remember when you're 12 is pretty impressive. I thought it'd be nice, just to give you a quick break from my voice, to show you an amazing video, a short extract from Melissa Kaur, who has a huge library of grammar songs. She's got a whole range of topics, from nouns and adjectives, to context clues, to personification, and here the difference between an opinion and a fact.
A fact is a statement that is known or proven to be true. For example, Abraham Lincoln was the 16th President of the United States of America would be considered a fact. You could look up the information in a book or encyclopedia in your local library, or use online resources to prove the statement to be true. An opinion is a statement of belief or judgment about something. Little Foo-Foo is the cutest dog in the whole world is an example of an opinion. Little Foo-Foo's owner might think so, but other people would have different opinions. I think Patch is cuter.
Thank you. The rest of those videos are either available, you can get to them via our blog, or directly from Melissa's Grammar Songs page. Now, clearly, nowadays, video is part of everything and every day, and it presents these incredible possibilities across all walks of life. And there's so much in a communications setting that can be enhanced with video, because video really can bring meaning and joy to something which is normally so ordinary and mundane and dull. Video use has obviously been expedited to the nth degree in the last 12 months. You know, face-to-face meetings and events, now online. Working from offices, move to homes, possibly even gardens. And classroom teaching, pretty much all online. And so we've all had to step up and adapt. And now we have this checklist to filter. Audience, check. Message, check. Context, check. What style? What style are we going for? It's unlikely for us that it's going to be a 4K or VR masterpiece. It's more likely that it's going to be something which is short, urgent, quickly created. And actually, what's incredible is that now we can have the same impact, whether it's created by an individual or part of a big global business, because actually each and every one of us can make an amazing, effective video simply and quickly. And if we choose a whiteboard animation style, we know how effective it is. We know that we process visual information 60,000 times faster than text. We know that it boosts our knowledge retention by 15% over talking head videos. And we know that this multimedia style of video increases problem-solving capabilities by up to 75%. Quite incredible. The tools we have available to us today are a really incredible leveler. If all you have is a handheld video, it's unlikely that your results are going to be great compared to some of the big players who've got all the expensive kit. But actually, the pandemic's given us this opportunity to portray ourselves in whatever light we choose, because the audience focuses on you, on your message, your story. They can't tell what your background is. Definitely can't meet face to face at the moment. You know, none of us are flying, none of us are traveling. And actually, irrespective of whether we're in a back basement in Brighton or a plush penthouse in Palo Alto, we all now have the same access to easy to use, affordable software tools and services that transform the way that we communicate and enable us to really wow our audience.
Perfect. Thank you, Zoe, so much for kind of taking us on that journey with you about the way video is helping us in basically every aspect of our life, at home and at work. And I think those are some really powerful examples to show just how vital video is in this year and beyond. And I think to kind of look at that on Sparkol terms and how that is impacting how we're developing our products and services, I want to hand over to Susie now to kind of take us through all of this information from a product side.
Cool. Thanks, Naomi. So yeah, hi everyone, I'm Susie. I'm the product lead here at Sparkol. I'm really excited to talk to you all today about what product means here at Sparkol, what it actually means for you guys, and to give you a little sneak peek into what we've got coming up. So Zoe just spoke about how video is a major part of sharing your story. It's super effective, and we know that we take in information a lot better when we process visual content a lot better and much quicker than written words or listening to someone talk, particularly when you combine all three of those together. She also spoke about how the scribe style of video, or whiteboard style video, is really effective, and there's some cool sessions this week, so I won't go into the details too much, but I thought I'd share how we make sure you can tell the best story that you can. Zoe also spoke about about the power of video and how technology is the ultimate leveler, what opportunities that creates. She spoke about the science behind how we take in and process information, and we work really hard to help people share their stories by leveraging technology. So you can promote your business or services, explain something really complex, or help teach an unruly class remotely. We also know that first impressions are really important. When it comes to video, you need to grab your audience's attention in the first few seconds and get your message across immediately. This is why knowing the job that you're trying to do when you share your message is key, as well as the message itself that you want to share to your audience. And there are loads of jobs that video can help you achieve, but there are 3 in particular that I want to talk about. So first up is reach. Now, this is about getting your story out there, sharing who you or your organization are, your mission, your goals, your ways of working. You want people to know who you are, what you do, and have you or your organization front of mind. Next, we've got grow. So this is pretty straightforward. It's taking reach to the next stage. At this point, you want your audience to act on the message that you're sharing with them. So is it a sale, a product launch, an invitation to a remote event? But you're aware that video is everywhere in promotion. There's a whole industry built around it. It's ubiquitous. Next up is explain, particularly for complex or dull content, and it's a real biggie for us. It's how Sparkol started, it's our bread and butter, and as I said, the scribe style in particular is incredibly effective at bringing that dull content to life, and even more importantly, it's really sticky. So people absorb that information faster and they absorb more of it. We've got 3 good examples now to show you guys about how you can approach each of those things. First up, we've got an example that's been created by our studio team around mental health. We also have an example of the kind of videos you can create in Scribely to promote your business. And lastly, we have a video that's been created by the World Health Organization. They made it about 15 months ago, right at the time that coronavirus started, and before we sort of knew really what it was and before it was in the front of our minds all day, every day. So hand over to Naomi for a minute.
Perfect. Just to note, these are all just snippets of the videos, so if you want to watch the full thing, we can share them in the email afterwards for more inspo, but we'll get started with the mental health video.
While social isolation is a crucial measure to tackle the current COVID-19 crisis, the worry and distance from loved ones can be tough on our mental health. Here are 6 tips to help reduce stress and protect your mental health during this difficult time. Maintain familiar routines as much as possible, or create new ones. Still having a structure for your daily life at home brings a sense of normality and can be especially important for children. If you're working from home, try to set boundaries for a better work-life balance.
And now we're just going to move into the World Health Organization.
So what is a coronavirus? Coronaviruses are a large group of viruses. They consist of a core of genetic material surrounded by a lipid envelope with protein spikes. This gives it the appearance of a crown. Crown in Latin is called corona, and that's how these viruses get their name. There are different types of coronaviruses that cause illness in animals and humans. In humans, coronaviruses can cause respiratory infections ranging from the common cold to more severe diseases.
And lastly, this is the Scribely example.
Great, thank you, Naomi, for that. I hope that gave you guys a little insight, and as Naomi said, we can send out the links to them, so if you want to watch the whole videos. Next up, I want to talk a little bit more about what product is at Sparkol, particularly for the product team. So our mission is to make sure that people who come to us to tell a video story can do just that. We spend a lot of time thinking about and talking to our customers to find out the problems that you're trying to solve, the stories that you want to tell, and how we can best help you do that. So that means lots of experimenting, discovering, testing and iterating. We're always working in the background to try and improve our products and our services to you. Aside from the story or message that you want to share, it's really important there's a way of doing that that fits your budget, your experience, how much time you have. With technology being the great leveler, we can enable people to create great video content without needing those things. So you can explain complex topics using VideoScribe, you can promote your business with Scribely, you can upskill with our academy to make the most of our software, or you can work with our talented studio team to have something made that's bespoke for you. So you've got the content you need to create your video, you can create it on a platform that's right for you, and then you can share that creation with the world. Many products and services out there do require a steep learning curve, or at least some kind of creative experience, and we really want to help more people, regardless of experience, to tell better stories by using our products and services to remove those barriers. Okay, so what are we actually going to do to improve what we've got? Over the last year, as I said, we've been looking at how people interact with our products and what you're using them for. We've also been looking at the stories themselves that you're trying to tell and the challenges that you face with our products. We know that there's no perfect product out there, and ours isn't perfect, so expect to see some improvements to our user experience and a few new features here and there. But what I want to talk about is a little bit more about our strategy going forward. So I'll start with, to give you some context, a bit of a really high level user journey of that people go through when they want to make a video. So first up, you've got discovery. So as it sounds, that's sort of uncovering what it is you want to make and why, how am I going to approach this problem, what platforms are available to me, how have other people solved this problem in the past, and is there anything I can draw inspiration from. Next up, we've got ideation. So what is this going to look like? What styles do I want to use? What do I like? What's the actual detailed story that I need to tell? There's actually a storyboarding session up next to go over how to do this in more detail, and I highly recommend joining it if you haven't signed up for it yet. Next, they then got creation, pretty straightforward. It's making your actual video story. And then lastly, there's sharing. So that's sharing with your network, posting it online, getting feedback from your peers, presenting it to your class, etc. Pretty straightforward. So what we found is a lot of people are really time poor, particularly at the moment, and there's a lot of pressure on everybody to continue to deliver to a high standard in particularly extenuating circumstances. So our focus going forward is to reduce the amount of time that you spend between ideation and creation, those two middle steps of that journey. There's a bunch of different ways that we could tackle this, but our strategy is really to start looking with content in the first place. So that's more content, better content, more images, more templates, wider range of audio, but also a better user experience to kind of bring it all together and to support it. Next, we'll then start to look at a more detailed journey that our users undertake to actually create those stories. So what frictions are you facing when you try to create a video using our software? Alongside this, we're looking at the value to you. So how is this problem being solved at the moment? How well is it being served to you by alternative products and services out there? Where do we fit in to this, and how can we improve, and how can we help you do what you came to us to do better? Once we've kind of got that insight and experimentation underway, we can then start to look at creative and novel ways those problems can be solved in the Sparkol style. There's not really a specific timeline for this. It's going to be ongoing, so keep an eye out. You should start to see things changing and coming up soon. So yeah, I just wanted to recap kind of everything that we've gone over so far. So we've spoken about what video means to us at Sparkol, how we can help you tell your story, what we do in the product team, and a little bit about what we're doing going forwards. And lastly, I just want to wrap up by reflecting back on our mission as well. So we're really excited to share how we communicate creatively and remove barriers to creating engaging content so that anyone, anywhere can bring their stories to life in magical and meaningful ways. Yeah, thank you for your time, everybody. I hope you guys are as excited as I am to see some of the talks that we've got coming up. Back to you.
Thanks, Susie. I think it's great to be able to give a little bit of an insight about what we've got coming up from a product perspective, because I know that a lot of the people joining us today are current VideoScribe or Scribely users, and you always want to know kind of what you can expect to come up next. So it's great to hear that. I kind of just want to ask you guys a couple of questions, because I think you've shared a lot of stories and thoughts on how video are changing, and video is changing, and it's kind of sparked a couple of thoughts in my mind. So I guess, Susie, you've kind of mentioned this a little bit, but could you kind of pinpoint any specific changes in the way our community have used our products and services because of COVID? I know we hate to dwell on it, but it is just one of those massive unavoidable topics. So yeah, have you seen any key trends and changes?
Yeah, so over the last year, this video has become even more important than ever. So I think from a social media point, people are using more self-made platforms to create their content. So you'll see it a lot on Instagram, you even see it on TikTok now. There's a lot of more lo-fi content out there, and people are starting to appreciate that more as well, which is really good. We're also seeing a lot of, as Zoe mentioned, educational content coming into video as well. So there's a lot of people creating class content, but also things like HR teams needing to find engaging ways of explaining really dry HR processes to people who are onboarding remotely to a company. So those are the kind of things that we're starting to see.
Cool,
yeah, I think
definitely.
I'd like to jump in there. And just adding to that, one of the other areas that we've really seen huge growth in has been those people that have been gearing up to get people back into their schools, businesses or communities. So we've seen a big uptake in the types of users that are preparing those health and safety style communications, or just an informatic to let people know what to expect when they arrive back in their shop or their hotel or their gym, or even back to schools, because we're all in this new world and actually we don't know what to expect. And so it's actually very reassuring when we see these steps drawn out in front of us to show us what we should expect when we go back into an environment that we thought we were familiar with.
Definitely, I think those are all such good examples, and I'm sure lots of people online today can relate to those, particularly from a sort of HR perspective and the health and safety bits. It's just so valuable to have those. Zoe, I know you're particularly interested in a lot of the international data, and you kind of reflected that in your stories in your section. Have you seen any kind of one region or country that's kind of leading the way with video? Any sort of changes in global usage that you can flag?
I think it's fair to say that there's not a region now that's not using video. We now sell to well over 180 countries. I think Janelle gave me a most recent stat to say that it was over 190 last year that we actually sold to. And so we see the growth, just phenomenal growth. But some areas we see it greater than others. We greatly see that speed of uptake. India is really driving ahead with their video usage and how they consume video. But also some other countries that we've seen real growth in. Brazil, really exciting market for us, and Japan. But I would say that actually it's across the board, and we're so lucky to have a product that is available for everybody, from anyone, anywhere, to bring their stories to life, irrespective of their language or even their font that they use, that we can actually offer something to cater to each and every one of them.
Definitely. So a question to you both then. What do you see as the biggest opportunity for brands using video in 2021? What do you see as those key points where they can drive kind of maximum value from video?
I'll go first. Yes, so there's a lot, as I said before, there's a lot more expectation from users to see real content. So you'll see a lot more lo-fi videos being created, a lot more live streaming, that kind of thing. And again, like that being supported by animation or illustration on top of it. So you kind of see these like mixed media styles coming up. You'll see it a lot on places like Instagram and TikTok. I think that's really what I kind of see over the next year, becoming really, really big from a brand perspective.
And I think I share my age here. I think back to when I started, and my first job was in marketing, where we planned our year's worth of content and we prepared all our print content and our advertising for magazines and so on and so forth, so many months in advance. Now, actually, we don't have that time. We don't have the ability to plan that far ahead. We can have an idea, but actually the world is changing and it's moving so incredibly quickly. And so it's about how do you create fresh content quickly and easily and turn it into video. And now that might be repurposing content that you already have. I mean, for teachers or for HR, for health and safety, it might simply be converting your existing content into small bite-sized chunks of video that's easy to consume, particularly on the go, because that's how we're all consuming the video. So for me, it's not purely about the opportunities that we have with social media, but actually also from a business and a learning perspective for intranets and for different knowledge bases, where people only really want to consume video. Now I have 2 children. I see it. I see so clearly how there is an expectation that there'll be a video of something. And so it's for us, it's about having the tools and using the tools that we have as part of our portfolio of tools that we can use in order to create this quick content as and when it's needed. And sometimes that's today or tomorrow.
Definitely, I think that repurposing point is so important because you're basically unlocking a whole load more value from things that you've already invested in, and it's sort of a no-brainer when you think of it like that. If you've got kind of white papers, PowerPoint presentations, anything like that that you can just transform, like Zoe said, into something you can be consuming on the go. And we do actually have a session on how to turn a PowerPoint presentation into an animation in 30 minutes tomorrow afternoon. So if you haven't already registered for that and you're interested, that would be a great session to sign up to. But yeah, completely agree, Zoe, that is a massive opportunity. So my last couple of questions, the first being, I know Susie, you've kind of touched on some social media trends, but what would you say is kind of the trend that's caught your eye at the moment with video? Oh, I think we've just lost your audio.
Sorry, I muted because the big lorry went past. Yeah, so I think going back to what I said, really seeing live content that is almost like ad hoc and improvised. We're starting to see a lot of that kind of stuff at the moment, and it's really, really engaging. Things that people are putting together quickly and sharing. That's going to be the big thing, I think.
Cool. What about you, Zoe? Is there anything that's like particularly caught your eye in terms of trends, like new developments that you've seen, or new ways of using video?
I think for me, it's about addressing some of us who feel a little more time poor, possibly, than others. So for me, it's about having templates to help me get started and to get our other users started. So actually creating content from scratch can feel quite daunting and time consuming. And sometimes it makes us shy away from actually embracing it when we know we should. And so we choose a different medium. Actually, what we will be offering, and we've started offering and we'll offer more of, is more template content. But actually we see that across all different areas. And so the ability to start with just something and not a blank page makes the most incredible difference. And it gives you this boost and this confidence that you too can do it. And I was reading the blog about, a couple of weeks ago, and there was somebody that just said, you know, it's not going to be perfect. Just start and do it and give it a go, because every time you do it, you'll make it, it will just always be that little bit better. And you'll change something, you'll refine something. And it's absolutely true. We need to just embrace it. But actually, if we can have a little step up and a bit of a head start with something like a template, it can make an enormous difference to each and every one of us.
Definitely, I think we've all felt that blank screen fear when it could be video, it could be anything that you're coming into for the first time, and it's having something that can just get you started and kickstart some ideas. So perfect. Thank you for answering my little extra questions there. It's just good to get your thoughts on some of these bits that were kind of sparking as you were talking through your content. So with that, I'd like to say thank you so much to everyone who's joined us for this session today. I hope you have enjoyed it, and as I said, this is just really the start of this event. We have a whole lot more planned, as we've alluded to throughout, so definitely go and check out the other sessions that are available and register. If you can't join any of them live, we will be sending the recordings out afterwards, so don't let that kind of stop you if you want to check out any of the sessions. As I said at the start, if you do have any extra questions, please send them to our email address, which is marketing@sparkol.com. That's going to be manned by myself and our marketing team throughout the event, so they will be able to respond quickly to any questions that you have coming in, or feedback, any thoughts you want to share. And I can see we have had a few bits coming through on the webinar as well, so anyone who's put any questions in there, I will also make sure we get answered, and you should receive the recording by email later today. But with that, thank you again so much for joining us, and we hope to see you on another session soon. And of course, thank you to Zoe and Susie for joining me for this session and sharing your thoughts on all things video. But for now, we'll catch you on another webinar soon.